when I was separated with my husband. Of course, there were a lot of reasons for me to cry. You will know what peace truly means if in the midst of problems, in the midst of trials, you feel lighter, you feel better, and there is joy. Then that's actually peace. That is actually God's love. Your only source of peace and joy is actually God. You have to face it, that life is not like smooth sailing every day. Part of one's life is we will really face problems. So it's really God's peace that in the midst of problems, we will understand what peace and joy is all about. And that's where we'll understand that life is indeed beautiful. I realized I had to go through those sufferings. I had to experience pain because that was part of God's plan of, making me broken. Because it was in my brokenness that I was humbled. When I was humbled, when I was really at my lowest, it was then that I realized, well, I've done my part and it wasn't effective. I tried everything to make my marriage work, but my husband is still not coming back to me. I was not happy. There was no peace. And I was very broken before the Lord. And then I realized that I had really nowhere to go but to God. And so I raised my two hands up and I said, Lord, I surrender. And I felt so much lighter because I knew that it was God who was carrying me. He was bringing me to where He wanted me to be. And that's where I understood what unconditional love was all about and forgiveness. Well, those were the two things that were very hard to grasp and understand. But when God made me broken, that's when I realized, well, I think I have to try this strategy this time because my own strategy did not work. And so I tried God's way. That's why I said, I thank God for breaking me, because it was during my brokenness that I felt God's presence. I felt God was with me and God was really helping me and doing things for me. Of course, I had my share of nagging, asking too many questions, finding out if my husband was with this woman and this other woman. And I did a lot of investigating from one um, gadget to another, from one place to another. I checked his car, I checked every um, part of his belongings, all his items. But I discovered that the more that I knew about what my husband was doing, the more it was becoming painful. And so, and then the more that I asked my husband, it's either he would say yes, he would admit, and then it was very painful for me. Now, if he will lie about it, then I would be asking for more questions. That would lead him to getting angry at me. And then I realized, well, I was not really getting anything, but I ended up being more hurt. I ended up crying even more. I would have sleepless nights. And then I even tried befriending the girl. And then I asked the girl all the questions that I wanted to ask her, and then I got all the honest answers. And then it went on for several months until I realized that I couldn't bear the pain anymore, and so I stopped. And then I said, Lord, I've had too much, and I couldn't bear it, and I couldn't take any more of it. It's enough already that I found out that my husband didn't love me anymore, and so I surrendered everything to God. And then the other women that I even talked to and I counsel, they also do the same thing, but they ended up, getting more hurt. Some women would even go to the other women, to the mistresses of their husbands, and they would fight with the other women. But, it would just ruin their testimony. And then later on, when my husband and I were together, that's one thing that my husband told me. And then he told me that one thing I'm thankful is that you did not do what they did. Like, you did not go to the mistresses to um, get even with them or say bad things against them or even curse them. Because looking back, if you're gonna tell the story now, it would just ruin your testimony. So at least I didn't have something to say like what they were all saying. So what I advise is that um, it's not going to be effective if you will keep investigating, if you will keep nagging and asking questions. The the most effective way is that to just keep quiet, keep it to yourself, and then just surrender everything to God. I know it's not easy. It's very difficult. It's very painful, but what could be more effective than God's way? Because I've done it my way, and I might have gotten some answers to it, but it just left me nothing. I was still a loser in the end. But when I did it God's way, I had the victory. God rewarded my endurance, my patience, my when I waited expectantly. And looking back, what were the things that I did which I think were what God wanted me to do? Then I remember that all I did was just to continue serving my husband and not saying anything against him, not being bitter. I was not angry towards the other woman. Um, and then I just kept praying for the salvation of the other woman and the salvation of my husband. And I think that's the best way to really win your husband back. To just be quiet, to just wait expectantly, and to just forgive every day so that you will not um, you will just surrender everything, all the pain to God, and everything will be lighter. But and how would you feel towards your husband? Then you practice unconditional love every day. That's it.